You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in Studio HQ, joined as always by Randy Angston. What's up, guy?
How we doing?
Good. Lots of moving parts. But we love it.
Every day.
Every day, got a special episode for you today. But before we do that, let's talk about a quick announcement. The Grow Summit, the tickets, they're live. Go to winninggym.com/Scottsdale. We have our first batch of 25 tickets about halfway through, and then the price goes up from there. Just lined in another speaker, a good friend of ours, Rick Mayo, is going to come and speak to us about, he's getting into the franchising.
Yep.
He wants to tell the story on that. So if you're a gym owner that kind of had thoughts about maybe one day franchising, this is going to be the guy you want to talk to and hear from. He's going to give you the raw and real, what's going on behind the scenes. We had a good call yesterday talking about all the nonsense, all the stuff you deal with.
Well, he spent a lot of money on research too. He knows this industry. He knows the numbers. There's the data. He's done that work.
Yeah, and he's pumped because he said he's like 15 franchises getting ready to launch. So
hell yeah,
he's well off into the races. So he's coming down. Got him coming. We also have Jason Phillips, who's been a guest on this episode or on this podcast. He does nutrition. He does nutrition certifications and really coaches a great group of call them nutritionists, but they're trainers and they have nutrition as part of their repertoire, and they're doing big 6-figure, 7-figure type in just nutrition. So that's cool. So you'll hear from him. We also have Shauna. Shauna, our tax goddess.
Yeah.
She is the savior for so many businesses. Finally, somebody that's on our side when it comes to the IRS and the taxes, and she's going to drop 10 strategies that you can save $10,000 or more immediately.
I was just talking about Shauna last night and her tax strategies.
It's amazing, and we're going to speak a little bit about that today. And then we also have Eric Russell. Eric is a sales coach. He has a coaching course and coaching group where he helps you basically sell better
For fitness.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important. And then we got a couple guys in the mix we're working on to get to it. But those 4 are locked in, as well as several gym owners are already signing up now. So don't wait, guys. The reason I'm going to push so hard on this, to be super transparent, is I want to be done with the ticket sales so I can focus on the event. Because this is us, right? You, me.
Yep.
We have Conan, we got Kelly, some people working in the background, but we're working on all this stuff together. I don't want to worry about tickets. Just go buy them. If you're going to buy them, and then we'll sell this thing out, close the shopping cart down, and then we'll move on to the experience.
Heck yeah. And like you said, it's only going to get more expensive as time goes on.
Very true. Yep.
So
there's your, I guess that's your urgency.
Boom.
Urgency and scarcity.
Look at that. It's like we know what we do. We're doing something.
Once we did that right. All right, so this episode today, guys, this is so funny that we're talking about this because all anybody ever talks about is gross revenue, right? Hey, we made $1 million, we made $100,000 this month, or we made $50,000 this month, or we made $500,000 last year. That's always the number people are going to brag about.
Yep.
It's the top line, and then you've got the people coming in from the back. Well, it's not how much you gross, it's how much you keep. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep, and that's what your profit is. And they're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you can, gross $1 million and make
Give it
zero,
all away. Yeah,
or you can gross $500,000 and make $100,000. But I got a new take on this. I don't even think it's about profit, which is completely different than anybody else. I think it's about owner benefit, and what I mean by that is how much are you as the owner benefiting from the spoils of your operation? Not how much you have in profit per se, it's how much you benefit. And what I mean by benefit, it's how much money do you personally take? Because if you show a giant profit and you don't pay yourself, you owe taxes on all that money, right? So it's like, is it really a good idea to show heavy profit? And I would argue, yes, two times you would want to do that. Number one, if you're trying to sell your business, you would definitely want to show profit, a high profit. And if you're going for new financing, if you're trying to get a building or, open up another operation, having profit's very important there. But it's a catch-22. We always try to have very little profit because I don't want to owe taxes, and that's where Shauna comes in. So we wipe out a lot of the profit. We'll show profit, but then we'll wipe it out with tax strategies.
Yep.
So let's get into some things that you can do. And before I even say one more word, I am not a tax consultant. I am not a lawyer. This is just ideas. And when these are things that you could do. Like, don't follow my advice. I don't know what I'm talking about. Find your own advice and research this stuff. But let's take a couple tax strategies that Shauna's used with us in the last few years.
The masters.
Start with that. The master's tax. So the master's tax, and if you remember Shauna talking about this, it was named after Augusta National in the Masters tournament, and all the senators
yep.
that had these giant homes, they would lease those homes to themselves and then take the money as income, but not non-taxable.
Non-taxable.
Yeah, so you can do that, up to 14 times a year. So
14 days per year.
14 days per year. Very, very, very important. So you can lease your home to yourself, but there's definitely some caveats to that.
Mm-hmm.
One of the strategies that we've put in place for years now is that we'll host, events or team meetings at the house, and we, in order to get a fair market value, you have to do research and have proof that if I were to lease this space for a half a day at a hotel or a ballroom or a banquet center, what would that cost?
Yeah, it's going to be comparable. Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, it's $10,000 a day and pay yourself that. Now, when you pay yourself that money, it's like you're taking extra payroll without the tax, okay? But by default, that reduces your profit.
Yes.
If you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say you did $1,000 times 14 events, $14,000. That comes off of your profit line because it's an expense paid to yourself, owner benefit. Vehicles, gas, Costco runs, things that you're buying for the gym that you could use at the house. All of these things are essentially owner benefit. You pay yourself, owner's draws, payrolls. Those are all things that go against the profit. I don't think owner draw does. I have to get Sean on that because I don't think it comes off the P&L. I think that's a balance sheet thing. But the point that I'm trying to make to everybody is that everybody that has a gym out there that's what I would consider a lifestyle business.
Yep.
You have the gym as the business to support your lifestyle. It's not necessarily how much profit you make, it's how much you personally benefit. You took the risk, you invested your time, blood, sweat, and tears, money, financially, you put all that on the line. What are you benefiting from it?
And that brings up a good point, though, too, because I can tell you, with the number of gym owners we've worked with, there's a lot of gym owners who don't even take a salary or pay themselves, like when we were having the conversation back when we used to have the financing and stuff like that. So we got into financials and calls, and a lot of them didn't have an answer as far as what they make. It's the business I just pull cash from the business when I need it,
and that's a bad idea. So we had a show on this. Never use the business as your personal ATM. Mm-hmm. Like, you've got to pay yourself a wage. And talking to Shauna earlier today, you want to be about 30% of net profits as your pay. So let's be with your pay in the profit. So let me explain that. Let's just say you paid yourself $30,000 and your profit 70,000. So you combine the two, it equals 100,000, and 30,000 is what you should have paid yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the line in the sand that Shauna tells me that's going to not trigger an audit versus paying yourself way too much or way too little. You don't want to pay yourself too little because they want that Social Security tax coming out of your paycheck. And so that they want to, it needs to be around that 30% of total profit as your owner pay. Again, I'm not a tax consultant. This is just regurgitated information. Another great strategy that the owner can benefit from that would reduce profit would be paying your children. When your children are 7 years old until they're 18 or 17 in 364 days, they can be on your payroll.
Yep.
and they have to have a job, and they have to come in and do stuff. So, like my daughter files for us, you know, she makes a salary, and you can pay up to $12,000 a year that you can pay to your child. And guess what? That's only taxed at a bare minimum, and that child doesn't have to file taxes either.
It's not income tax, yeah.
Right. So there's some Social Security and Medicare that comes out of that, but they're on the ADP, right? They're on the payroll reports, and they're getting paid just like an employee. But that goes into a separate account, like the way we do our daughter, separate account, and that pays. It can only pay for anything other than food, water, shelter. So like you can't pay your rent with it, you know. You can't
make your kid come home and pay your mortgage.
Yeah. But horse lessons, school books, you know, stuff like that. That's the thing that you can use that money for. Instead of coming out of your account, it just comes out of their account. And as a parent, you can do that's a completely legal tax strategy.
Yeah.
But again, going back to my first point of this, those are owner benefits that would essentially reduce profit. So, okay, well, wait a minute. Is it really
the
profit?
number? Yeah.
Is it the profit number, or is it the owner benefit? And I would argue it's the owner benefit.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like if you think about the quality of life it's providing, you know, a number on a bank account doesn't mean shit. You know, it's literally what you do with it. It's a tool, you know, and if it all just sits there and it's just a number, you know, what are you bragging about it? It's like gross revenue, you know what I mean?
Oh, you mean not in the bank account, but on the P&L.
Well, just profit as a whole, you know what I mean? If you're not utilizing the profit, owners' benefits, salaries, things like that, it does no good. You know what I mean? The money is still a tool. It's got to use it for something.
Sure.
The number, you know, it's like saying gross revenue. Gross, great, but that's not money that's sitting in your account usually. You know what I mean? Because profit is what we're talking about. But yeah, there's, I don't know. I just don't see the benefit of having the cash sitting there, I guess is my point.
Well, you definitely want to have cash flow.
I mean, obviously,
You definitely want to have savings. You definitely want to have that stuff. To run an operation, you really should have 3 to 5 months in total expenses in an account, because, look, COVID.
Oh, God, yeah.
All the stuff that came up, I mean, God forbid it happens again. Who knows, right? We go to war, and that could throw a wrench into some things, huh?
Yeah, I mean, could you think about all of the businesses that didn't have the ability to open? I mean, California is still training outside.
God.
You know what I mean? Like how many of these gyms, if they didn't have cash flow, wouldn't be around?
Well, there's a lot that closed. Let's be clear. I think the last time I heard, was 30%, 33%, a third of all businesses that were gyms, and probably restaurants.
Mm-hmm. And we just today, just before this, changes here in Arizona lifted the mandate for gyms, restaurants, theaters, capacity restrictions.
Oh, were we on one? I don't remember.
Well, not the way that we operate here, but.
We were just fine. Yeah, we actually had a nice visit from the health department a couple months ago, checking in on us. So, anyways, really the point of the podcast today is like, look, yeah, gross revenue probably isn't the number that makes any sense, because you, like we said earlier, you can make $1 million and spend $1 million and you're left with zero. Profit is important, but I would say owner benefit probably trumps that in regards to a lifestyle business. And that's a business that you run that supports your lifestyle, supports your family. That's what I mean. I think that's more important than showing a profit.
I agree.
Yeah, very cool. Well, hell, one thing I want to mention too, I just saw a state of the fitness industry report. It was put out by another company, and it was shared in one of our mastermind groups. I don't think I want to name the name of this industry report, but I read it, and I was very, very surprised to see some of these numbers on there. And what it was like, what are your expenses? How much, you pay your trainers? What percentage comes from these service categories? And it was apparently 6,000 gyms. Okay, it was 6,000 boutique gyms, and I read it, and I got to the point where it had like total expenses per month. Like how many gyms had less than this number of, this amount of expenses. And it was 25% of the gyms that responded to this survey, their monthly expenses were less than $6,000 a month. Okay. then 50% were less than 10,000, and 75% were less than 18,000. And this was boutique fitness, and it kind of hit me like there's another level of boutique fitness within boutique fitness.
Yeah.
Because those numbers are nothing when it comes to expenses. 75% are less than 18,000. Our rent is 16,000. So like, who are these gyms?
Where?
That was my question.
That's the thing. Well, you got to wonder. I mean, if they consider boutique style, I mean, instantly when you said those numbers, I instantly started thinking, roll up doors, CrossFit style,
and I think
gyms.
That's what the majority of them were.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also said what was the amount of cash it took to open the business? It was like 35,000. Like,
that's your dumbbells.
Not quite. It was just it opened my eyes to understand that there's levels of boutique fitness, big differences, and then it reminded me as to why we put the Growth Summit together in the first place.
Yep.
I was like, okay, because we did a survey, guys. We did a survey on Facebook where we did a drawing for a power rack, and we had several thousand respondents, and we had several thousand points of data to look at. And when we saw the numbers coming back, originally it was how much does your gym gross in a year? And it was 0 to 100,000. And it was like 90% were coming in at 0 to 100,000. And I was like, really?
It blew our mind, yeah.
And we would get on the phone with some of these gyms, and we were understanding it wasn't even 100. It was like 50,000. So we moved the goalpost. We added another one, 0 to 50, and then 50 to 100. Like, where does your gym make? And 80%, or really 50 to 60%, were coming in at 0 to 50,000. And that was done in 2018. 2018 we ran that survey, or 2019, or probably early 2019.
Early 2019, yeah.
And then that's we say, okay, wait a minute. There's a big difference in the boutique fitness space, the training gym space, from what those problems that those people have versus the problems that the clients that we work with have, and neither's better than the other. Don't get it twisted, right? But what I'm saying is there's a big disparity, like the giant gap in this industry when it comes to revenue, profit, margins, headaches, between just in the boutique fitness category. And so we made a strong push towards that $400,000 or more a year gym versus the $0 to $100,000 gym. And it wasn't that, look, we can't help anybody that doesn't make that much. That's not the point. But the strategies, the problems that we solve are a little bit higher level problems.
Well, and then talking, like, there is to shed some light on that too. We talk with the gym owners that are at those levels. A lot of them were interested in being our clients and things like that. And like you said, the problems that they had, we couldn't fix a lot of it because half these people weren't even working in their business most of the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they own it. Well, they have a full-time job to supplement the income that they're not making in their gym. So it's almost like the serious business owner is exactly where they're supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, those that looked at this and treat it like a business get the results a business pays. There is a lot of those that have a gym and treat it like a hobby. Yeah, I know it's unfortunate. I mean, I don't even want to say it's unfortunate. I mean, it's entirely up to you. You're the one that owns it. If that's what you want out of it, I mean, if that's all you need out of it and you're happy, by all means. But if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably not you. You have a desire to grow. And that's where, as you start to escalate, elevate the brand, the business, the problems change. I mean, we talked with Mike Elcott. When we talked with him, he explained, he had 21, got up to 21 locations, and he was explaining, 1 to 5 had these sets of problems, 5 to 10 there was another set of problems. I mean, it constantly changed as the number of gyms grew, even though it's the same business, duplicated pretty much. Yep. But just the complexity of having those many locations, it's no different with that individual gym. As you progress and things change. Systems. You got systems to handle a lot of the stuff that got you here. Those problems probably aren't popping up all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Now you got a whole new set of things to worry about.
More money, more problems. Bro.
Yeah.
All right. Well, a little rant at the end here, but just wanted to share that kind of that data I saw. I was like, interesting. Something we should probably talk about. But the point of this podcast, what is it doing for your business? It's definitely not gross revenue. I mean, you got to have gross revenue, but it's not the number we look at to gauge a success.
I think we said it before. I mean, it's pretty much just it's good for the ego.
Oh yeah, and that's what anybody's going to ever share when you talk to a gym owner. That's how much the gross revenue is. But take a look at go. It's a good exercise. Go back, because there's probably things that you benefited from as an expense to the gym that it'd be nice to pull that out, because I will tell you this: when you do get a business valuation, or if you do ever go to sell the operation, that stuff needs to be separated, because that is going to help your valuation, because that's owner benefit, and that's a big key takeaway. It's not necessarily always the profit; it's the benefit to the owner.
Smart.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode. Until next time, go buy your tickets. Keep changing lives. See you, bye.